What happens when poise meets provocation in a room built to look like peace? When two people trained in the art of composure test the tensile strength of civility on camera, in real time. This is the story of the day Anderson Cooper and Meghan Markle sat down for what was supposed to be a gentle, introspective conversation and instead gave the world a masterclass in controlled combustion. No audience, no applause, just tension that crackled like static in a storm. The studio wasn't really a studio at all, at least not in the traditional sense. It was designed to look like someone's living room, the kind of space that whispers safety while quietly recording every breath. Low bookshelves, a Persian rug brushed into perfect symmetry, two chairs angled toward each other at 45 degrees, a marble table between them, and a bowl of green apples so polished they looked theoretical. It was television's idea of intimacy, a set meant to disarm, a room pretending to be a conversation. Anderson arrived first, they always did. Jacket unbuttoned, tie soft and unassuming, that famous expression, warm enough to invite trust, cool enough to dissect it. He moved with the stillness of someone who understood that in broadcast, motion could be a form of noise. He reviewed his notes once, twice then set them aside. Notes were scaffolding. He preferred the illusion of spontaneity. Behind the glass, a producer whispered stage directions in the hush of a librarian delivering last rites. The camera light blinked in quiet anticipation, and then Meghan entered. She didn't walk in, she arrived. The air changed the moment the door opened. Her hair caught the light like intention. Her outfit, a study in opposites, a black silk blouse that flowed like ink, a white blazer that meant business. Every stitch deliberate, every detail tactical. "Hello," she said, not a greeting, but a statement. Anderson rose slightly, smiled. "Thank you for being here." "Am I?" she asked, eyes scanning the room like she'd just been told to believe in a stage set. "I suppose I am." The first spark. Small, elegant, dangerous. Anderson, practiced in the gentle duel of interviews, let it pass. "We designed this space to feel more like a conversation than a cross-examination," he said lightly. "How considerate," Meghan replied. "Will there be a fruit basket after I pass your little civics test?" Behind the glass, the producer's eyes flicked to her rundown sheet as if maybe the next question could be safer. But there's no such thing as safety when charisma meets resistance. Anderson didn't flinch. "Let's talk about the past year. A lot of people have opinions about you, some informed, some not. What's one misconception you'd like to correct?" "That I need their permission," she said immediately. "Or yours." The pause that followed wasn't silence, it was a recalibration. Anderson tilted his head. "Inaccurate how?" She smiled without warmth. "Do you really want a tutorial? Fine. I don't fit into anyone's cheerful little framing device, not the benevolent duchess, not the conniving villain. I'm horrifyingly a person. And people," Anderson countered gently, "still live inside public narratives." "You've spoken about that yourself." "I've spoken about many things," she said. "Do you plan to footnote me before each question?" He smiled, tight, patient, surgical. "No footnotes, just context." Interviews can be difficult. Speaking from experience, sometimes they end unexpectedly. "My hope is we stay in conversation." "Your hope?" she repeated. "And if I decline, do I join the list of difficult women who didn't play nice with your rug?" "You can decline anything," he said. "You're here voluntarily." She turned slightly toward the camera. "Voluntarily," she echoed. "Such a pretty word. Sounds like freedom. Smells like a trap." The studio felt smaller now. The rug, the apples, the light, all props for civility holding their breath. Anderson pressed forward. "You've launched a new initiative on media literacy for young people. What inspired that?" "Being misread," she said simply. "Over and over. You either dissolve or you teach people to recognize the ink blot." Anderson nodded. "Would you agree that criticism and misreading aren't always the same?" She tilted her head. "Criticism is the polite word people use when they've already decided who you are." Her gaze drifted to the apples. "You set a bowl on the table, call it decor, and then count it as a meal." He tried to pivot. "You've described the press as both indispensable and intrusive. What does healthy scrutiny look like to you?" "Curiosity without entitlement, she said. Questions that aren't performances pretending to be concern. Do you feel this is performative? Don't you? She asked. 2 chairs, 1 lamp, the theater of sincerity. Anderson took a breath, the kind that fills time while deciding which hill to die on. I'm trying to understand you on your terms, he said. Which presumes I want to be understood, she countered. Sometimes being misunderstood is safer. Then why accept the invitation? I don't mind the light, she said. I mind the angles, he nodded. Then let's unfix them. Tell me something you haven't said anywhere else. She laughed, high and brittle. And deliver you the pull quote you came for? No, thank you. Behind the glass, the producer looked like she might stop breathing altogether. Anderson leaned in. I'm not here for souvenirs. People who don't agree with you deserve the chance to hear you directly. They'll never hear me directly, Meghan said. They'll hear the headline that cages me in their comfort. I believe substance survives headlines more often than cynics think. Optimism as a business model, she said. Adorable. He smiled faintly. Some critics argue that your public advocacy centers you, that the very structures you critique become your stage. Is that fair? You're asking if I'm a hypocrite, she said. I'm asking how you square visibility with privacy. I square it by refusing to audition for mercy, she said quietly. Then, sharper. When I speak, a opportunist. When I don't, a manipulator. When I smile, a calculated. When I frown, a ungrateful. Every version ends with a woman you can scold for breathing too loud. The silence had weight now. Even the apples looked tense. I respect that double bind, Anderson said carefully. A fair interview press is where it's tightest. And a polite guest, she replied, is expected to thank you for the pressure. I'm not asking for thanks. No, she said. Just compliance, dressed as candor. He softened his voice. You've spoken about compassion. What does it require of you in conversations you don't enjoy? Not throwing the chair, she said. And a clear exit route, he smiled. I'm trying to keep us in good faith. Good faith, she repeated. Another lovely perfume. Spritz it on a question and it smells like virtue. Then help me avoid derailment, he said. You've warned me before what happens when interviews combust. Then stop asking questions that make me the arsonist, she said, smiling with all her teeth. The red light on the camera steadied. The room, so perfectly curated, felt ready to catch fire. Anderson straightened. What's the last day you felt unobserved? She blinked. Then, this morning, black coffee, a dog who doesn't know headlines, a calendar that forgot my name. That sounds human, he said softly. It sounds like fiction, she said. But you can package it if you want. He didn't respond. The quiet stretched like fabric pulled too tight. You've said boundaries are non-negotiable. He tried again. What does that look like in practice? Not answering questions that confuse curiosity with entitlement, she said. Saying no without guilt. Some would call that brave, he offered. Some would call rain inconvenient, she replied. He smiled. Your critics say you invite attention and punish people for paying it. There it is, she said. The postcard version. She wanted fame, then complained when fame answered back. Cute story. I'm asking how you live with contradiction, he said. I experience it as architecture, she replied. Designed for women who refuse to be grateful on cue. Do you owe anyone an apology? Do you? She asked. He didn't flinch. When I'm wrong, I apologize on air. How valiant, she said softly. A knight of the Chiron. He moved to his next card. Your podcast paused suddenly. Fans miss it. What happened? We discovered microphones can be both stethoscope and scalpel, she said. Some hearts didn't want the incision. Also, the business math bored me. Penalize me for that? I won't penalize honesty, he said. But when people join your projects and feel cut, what's your duty? My duty isn't to turn my ribcage into public property, she said. I build spaces. I'm not a utility. Spaces with your name on the door, he said. That's a sign, not a confession, she replied. I refuse to vanish in my own work just to reassure people I'm humble. He nodded. You've become a lightning rod. How do you not become the storm? I don't offer umbrellas, she said. Let people get wet. It's cleansing. That sounds harsh. Kindness isn't permanent shelter, she said. Sometimes it's just a towel. He inhaled. I'm trying to meet you where you are. You keep assuming there's an address, she said. I'm not a postcode. I'm a perimeter. He looked toward the producer for silent guidance. None came. Are you experiencing interview fatigue right now? I'm experiencing the tedium of translating myself into a language you can market as vulnerability, she said. Vulnerability isn't a currency I owe your vault. I'm not asking for tears. No, she said. You're asking for tidiness. He tried again. Steady, Meghan. There, she interrupted. That tone. The velvet hammer. Men use it when women won't fold neatly for the camera. Anderson's restraint was visible now, like a muscle held under glass. I'm not your enemy, he said. I already have enemies, she replied. You're just a man with a nice rug and a question that wants to be a mirror. The silence between them was electric. Then tell me, he said. What does a good faith question sound like to you? One that doesn't expect me to make your job easier, she said. Ask something you're willing to accept an untelevisable answer to. He paused, then asked, who are you when the microphone is off? Someone who doesn't need to answer that, she said and smiled. Finally, for real. He laughed, a small, genuine sound that felt honest. It was refusal, she said. Refusal can be honest, too. He leaned forward. Does that muscle the one that guards ever rest? It naps, she said. After rooms like this, I'll send you a postcard. I don't think postcards are coming, he said quietly. Then frame the rug, she replied. Remember it as the last soft thing between us. The floor manager lifted a hand. 30 seconds to break. Anderson, now visibly centered in his professionalism, tried one last pivot. When we come back, I'll ask about power, he said. Who has it in a room like this, and what it costs to keep? Meghan smiled. Perfectly. Wonderful. I'll invoice you for my answer. Why? Because power, she said, is the only thing in this room anyone intends to pay for. The light faded from red to black. Behind the glass, the producer finally exhaled. Anderson smoothed his cafe ritual reflex. Emotional armor. Meghan sat perfectly still, one leg crossed over the other, looking as unruffled as marble. The illusion of calm reassembled itself. But everyone in that room, from the floor manager to the sound engineer, knew they had just witnessed something rare. Not an explosion, not a breakdown. Something quieter, more dangerous. Two people, both masters of language and restraint, had turned conversation into combat. No shouting, no walk-off, just a duel of manners sharp enough to draw blood without a mark. When the footage aired weeks later, the internet didn't know what to call it. Some said it was the most honest interview Meghan had ever given. Others called it proof of arrogance, deflection, brilliance, ego, survival, depending on what they already believed. But inside that quiet studio, before the editing, before the commentary, there was only one truth worth remembering. The rug, the apples, the polite furniture, they all outlasted the moment. But the calm never returned. Because sometimes the most explosive interviews don't end in yelling. They end in stillness, the kind that hums with what wasn't said. And that day, Anderson Cooper and Meghan Markle taught television that civility can be its own form of violence, and that sometimes the quietest rooms are the loudest battles of all.